Hi Year 6, it's me back again with our maths for this week. It's a little bit sad this week because I realised that as Year 6 we would have been at Bude if it hadn't been for the current events. So I'll still provide the maths learning, but in the knowledge that both you and myself are a little bit disappointed that we won't be going to Bude. Okay, so we're going to start off with our warm-up. We have got subtraction of decimal numbers, and I've put 6 questions that I'd like you to have a go at. I'm just going to go through how to answer the first one, just so that you've got the strategies and 2 strategies that you could use. I think many of us, if we were faced with this question, would straight away go to the formal written methods. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I just wanted to remind you of another strategy that you could use that might be more efficient. And that's using a number line. So I've put 9.09 at the start of my number line and 13 at the end. And I've put 13.00 because, of course, that's what 13 is. And I've done that just so that it matches the number of decimal places on the 9.09. And then I've thought, what is the next whole number up from 9.09? And that is 10. So I've put 10.00 in there. There's number 10, and then the jump up to 13. And all I've done is find the difference by counting on from 9.09 to 10, and then from 10 to 13. If I drag that down, you can see what I've done here. The difference between 9.09 and 10 is 0.91. I've had to add 0.91 onto this number to make 10. And the jump from 10 to 13, we know it's really easy. We add 3. If I combine those and add both of those 2 numbers together, I make 3.91, which is the answer. Lovely method to use, efficient, and it's doing subtraction through addition. The other method that you'd have used will have been the formal written method. I'm going to quickly model that one now on the whiteboard here. I'd rather have a flip chart because I'd have square paper to align these up, and I would have probably written the place value values of these digits above it. I've only got a pen with a mouse, which isn't as good, but it still allows me to demonstrate how you might answer this question. So the first thing got to notice is that I've aligned these up so they're equal and the decimal points are in the correct place. I go to the hundredths column and I notice that I've got 0 take away 9 hundredths. I can't do that, so I'm going to have to exchange. But I can't get anything from the tenths column because there is no value to this tenths column yet. So I need to go to the ones. So I'm going to cross out 3 there, and I'm going to take one of the ones, leaving a 2 here. And that will then make 10 tenths. But I need to still take one of those tenths away from here because I need it for the hundredths column. So I'll put 100 hundredths there, making sure then that I change that to 9 tenths. Putting a decimal point back in here so we can see really clearly. Now I've got 10 hundredths, take away 9 hundredths, and that leaves me with 100th here. I've got 9 tenths, take away 0 tenths, which gives me 9 tenths here. Decimal points are lined up, put that in. 2 ones take away 9 ones. I can't do that, so I'm going to exchange. Take the 110 from there, add it to the 2 ones there to make 12. 12 take away 9, 12 subtract 9 equals 3.91. Exactly the same answer as we had down there. Pick the one that you think is suitable for you. Maybe have a go at both methods when you're answering these. Have a go at them and I'll be back shortly. Okay, so here are the answers. Press pause on your tablet, quickly mark them, see how you've got on. If you've made any mistakes, try and see what mistakes you've made. If you wanted an extension, maybe you could write the word problem that goes with these questions. Right, today's lesson, it's all about reading line graphs. Now we've got Ravi here, and Ravi, if I put him onto full screen, has a device that tells him how far and how long he has been walking or running. He took the readings every 10 minutes during a walk. The time in minutes, and the distance walked in kilometres. So what I'd like you to do is to draw a graph to show these readings. Did Ravi speed up or slow down during the walk? Now if we were in class, you'd be doing this in pairs and I'd be providing you with squared paper. If you haven't got squared paper at home but you've got a printer, I have put a PDF that you can use to print it out. If you haven't got any squared paper, just have a go on a piece of plain paper, back of a cereal packet, anything, just to try and see whether you can have a go at making this graph. Have a go at it, and I'll press pause on your device and I'll come back in a couple of minutes. Okay, so Holly has drawn, no, it's Emma in fact, has drawn this line graph. Now I'm going to zoom in because you can't see it particularly well there. That's better. I'm just going to show you a couple of things you can do with this. Straight away we can see that there's a line here going straight. There aren't any dots or plots on the graph that are away from that straight line, which is quite interesting. I'm just going to show you what you can do with the graph. If we know that Ravi has travelled for 40 minutes, we can take a ruler and a straight line and we can go up to the line on the graph and then across and see that he had walked 4 kilometres after 40 minutes. Alternatively, if we wanted to know how long it took him to walk 2 kilometres, we can take the 2 kilometres here with a ruler and then go towards the line. When we hit the line, come straight down, and we can see that that took him 20 minutes. You can see that he's walking at the same pace because we don't have any digits at all or any plots on the graph that are away from the straight line here. Interestingly, if we take our ruler, we can continue the line like so. And you could work out how far, if he kept on going, he might be able to travel in 50 minutes, 60 minutes and 70 minutes, assuming he was going at the same pace. And that's what we had on this graph. Emma extended her graph in the same way that I did, so that you can see after 60 minutes, Ravi has walked 6 kilometres. And you can say that he's walked 6 kilometres in 1 hour. His walking speed was 6 kilometres per hour. Now today I would like you to have a go at this guided practice. Now initially I had a go at doing this and thought, oh yeah, I've got the answer, but I didn't look closely enough at the graph. I've again put this up onto the website so you are able to print it out, but if not, you might have to zoom in just to see this really clearly. Because I thought that there were 5 steps up to here, and each one of these steps on the y-axis was going to be 10 kilometres, because the graph is showing the distance a train travel between 2 cities X and Y. This y-axis here is the distance from city X in kilometres. So I counted up 10, 20, 30, 40 and realised the steps are not in 10. They are in fact in steps of 12.5 kilometres. So you have 12.5 here, 25 here, and so on. That will then help you when you answer these questions. Now it might be you find it a little bit difficult, but I'd still just like you to have a go, and if it's not quite as accurate as it would be in the classroom, so be it, at least we're having a go. Spend a couple of minutes doing the guided questions and I'll come back shortly with the answers and how I answered them. Okay, here's the first question. How far was the train from City X after 3 hours? So I've taken my ruler and put on the 3 hours a line going all the way up to where the graph line is. Then I've taken it across to the y-axis, and you can see that it's the 1, 2, 3rd step after 150. The first step after 150 would be 162.5, then 175, and this then would be the 187.5 kilometres, which that's the answer there. The next question was how far was the train from City Y after 3 hours? So you've got to then look at where the train ends up, or how far it took to get to its destination. That's 250 kilometres. So that's where it reached. Train station Y is after 250 kilometres. So you have to take away the reading from 3 hours, which is the 187.5, which gives you the answer of 62.5 kilometres. how many times did the train stop during the journey between city X and city Y? And that's twice, because you can see that it stops here. At 1 hour, it had travelled this distance here. It had travelled 75 kilometres. And if you look, an hour and a half later, it hadn't gone any further. So it was still on 75 kilometres travel. So that means there it had had a break, and you can see exactly the same just along there. And how long was each stop? Well, we can see that this was half an hour because we're halfway between the 1 and the 2. This one was only 15 minutes because each one of these steps here is 15 minutes. How long was the entire journey, including the stops? Well, in order to do that, we need to see when the train stopped here and come all the way down there. And if you look, it's halfway between the 4 and the 5 hours, so it's 4 hours 30 minutes. Right, we'll go on to the independent learning. Now, I couldn't give you the first question or first graph from the independent learning in the book because it was too small and too difficult for you to see. So I've only given you the second question, which I'm going to put up onto the clip now. And basically, this graph shows the distance Sam ran during 3 hours. You've got the distance on this axis, the time in hours here, and you've got to answer these questions. If I scroll down, just makes it a little bit easy, you should be able to see. I'd like to have a go at them, and I'll come back with the answers shortly. Press pause on your devices and have a go. Once again, I've put this question onto a PDF so that you should be able to print it out if you have a printer, but you should be able to answer the questions, I hope, using a device at home. Right, let's just take the go from there, just to put it onto this, and then back to full screen, take away the different parts, and we'll see the answers there. So the first one is 8 kilometers, 16 kilometers, 12 kilometers, 30 minutes. Did Sam run faster or slower after the rest? And it is slower. Okay, that's it for today. I hope it's been a successful lesson, and I'll see you again on Wednesday. But before we do, I'll go on to the next page, which is a challenge. Now, this challenge I would like you to have a go at, and I'm not going to give you the answer till next week because I'm not sure how you're going to do on it. So if I just zoom out slightly, I'm going to here, you will then see that you've got the question. It says make 200. And you've got the 9 digits here. Choose 4 of the digits to go into the box here. Each one must be different. This makes 2 digits across, 2 digits across, and 2 down. So for example, that's 12, 47, 14, and 27. If you add those together, they make 100. Now the question asks, how many different ways of making 200 can you find? If you find more than 5, I think you've done pretty well. If you find more than 10, you've done really, really well. Above 15, you are a black belt at doing this question, this challenge. And I think maybe 1 or 2 of you might find over 20 different ways. As I said, this is tomorrow's challenge. I'm going to leave it here, and it will also be on the website, but I'm not going to put the answer up until next Monday, and then we can see how you get on, and you can email your teachers in if you've had a go at doing that. Okay, that's it for now. Enjoy the lesson, and I will see you on Wednesday.